What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here, Fightful Raw podcast. It is May 8. May 8. It feels like, it feels like this day was never going to end. I got the Raw spoilers earlier. Only read through, like, part of them. I could have read every word and it wouldn't have mattered. This episode of Raw was something. We are joined by Alex Pawlowski, associate editor of Fightful.com. What's up, Alex?
Sup, Sean? I was the guy gathering all those spoilers from across the pond, and I was seeing what was going down. I was like, "This is going to be bad," and I was right.
It was bad. It was lazy and it was bad.
Uh-huh.
But let me just jump ahead and say this. We're going to say this show is bad. And I'm going to talk about several things I liked on the show.
Yeah.
And there's going to be somebody that comments and says, you said that you didn't like the show, and then you talk about all these things you like. It's a 3-hour show. There are going to be some things here and there that I enjoy.
Yeah, the trick is, if there are more things you dislike than things you liked, the show, therefore, is mostly bad.
Even if it's things that I don't necessarily dislike, it's just there are pointless things as well.
Right, exactly.
Guys, leave us a thumbs up on the YouTube page. Subscribe to us, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher. As you've seen, and as you may have heard on last week's The List and Ya Boy podcast, some changes at Fightful.com. We have ended some of the shows with Elias, Sean Pearson, Patrick Cote, Frank Trigg, Matt Riddle, Shane Helms, to kind of address that. You can check it out there, but they just weren't doing the numbers to facilitate the money that we were paying those people. When Alex and I can talk about the corn in our poop and it does more numbers than that, then we got to kind of question things, especially when YouTube really screws us on revenue. We had a 55,000 view video that did 17 cents of revenue. We are keeping many of these personalities on in other capacities. We have a new MMA show on Tuesdays with myself and Showdown Joe. Eventually, that show will be a 90-minute show with segments plugged in from some of those personalities, as will be the Wednesday show with Jimmy Van, The List and Your Boy. So those personalities aren't all disappearing. We are just trying to do it in a way that maybe is less exhausting for our viewers. We know that a lot of you watched every one of our shows, and I thank you for that. I really do. Editing and making sure all those shows are scheduled is kind of exhausting, but what we have in store for you, I promise you all will enjoy and you all will like. And a lot of you are liking that Wednesday show anyway. It's an eccentric millionaire and a guy he picked to run a wrestling website. And sometimes when you hear Jimmy Van say, we're not going to talk about that on a show, you know that he has been hashtag gotten to.
Yep.
Because usually that show is just me taking a whipping for 60 minutes. That's really it. If you think I'm a little too much of an asshole to Alex or Anna or Jeff on these shows, tune in Wednesday.
That's where
I really get it.
That's where you get your glorious comeuppance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, yeah, we're keeping the personalities. I filmed some stuff with J.J. Dillon today, actually, for story time with J.J. Dillon. That's going to be a lot of fun. Showdown Joe is going to be filming some stuff with other Fightful personalities as well. So those people aren't all leaving. Maybe one or two will. We're still talking to a couple of them. But, yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff in order. And that boxing podcast with Carlos and Steven has blown up. We did a show covering the Canelo Julio Cesar Chavez Snorefest the other night. But really the story about that was Triple G and Canelo. They're going to fight later this year. So, yeah, show that some support too. Subscribe. Leave us a thumbs up. Man, I'm excited for once we get this software figured out. Man, it's going to be awesome. Roy Soria says, SRS, you need a haircut, bro. No, I don't. No, I don't. Monday Night Raw, May 8th. Opening segment. Dean Ambrose says that he has been named acting GM of Raw. Now, Alex, the first thing I thought when this happened was it would be hilarious if, like, next week or the week after, Kurt Angle said, I didn't leave any of you guys in charge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what should happen.
Yes, no, he did say that like my Uber driver got lost on the way from the airport. My phone wasn't working because I was roaming or something. I had no idea what was going on. And we find out that Dean Ambrose has been making up phone calls with Kurt Angle because he's a lunatic. He's crazy. So he makes up phone calls. That would be fun. That's better than what this is, because I really have to question Kurt Angle's judgment when the guy he calls above all else to run shit at Raw is Dean Ambrose, whose sole characteristic that we've all been told is he's crazy. And that doesn't seem like the kind of guy you'd leave in charge of anything. So
Miz came out, said that he's co-acting GM. I think he should also have been making this up.
Mm-hmm.
There was a great crowd in England early on, but grass is green. Braun Strowman comes out and he calls Reigns the big dog. Our boy Jimmy Van is not going to be happy about that one. Kalisto comes out and he wants Strowman for some reason. One-armed, zero-armed, I don't give a shit. Kalisto should probably not want anything to do with him.
Yeah, this was all really weird. The thing about the big dog thing, yeah, I noticed that too. In the old days, when you were the heel and the baby face you were facing had a nickname, you would say something clever about big dog. He's more like a little puppy. Like, and that's stupid, but it's better than actually giving him credence as the big dog. The big thing about this whole deal is that Strowman is injured. He's been wrestling with a torn rotator cuff on his right shoulder, all taped up on this European tour. But he came out today with his left arm in a sling. So it's not good. But yeah, I like the idea of I could beat Kalisto with one hand tied behind my back, and Dean's like, okay, prove it. If you're gonna have Dean be this wacky guy, at least have him, do it for a reason or whatever. I like the idea of him actually making up phone calls from Kurt Angle because it gets him ahead on Raw. I'm just gonna make up stuff because then I get to do whatever I want. That's better than just like, oh, look at him, he's wacky.
Also, I hope the nickname that he gave Kalisto, the bravest or the world's bravest tiny little man, that one's got to stick.
Yeah,
that's the only one I like.
Yeah. No, I just can't wait.
It's so ridiculous
for Michael Cole to shoehorn that into calling matches of Kalisto's.
Oh yeah. Roy Soria says, SRS, can you address why Shawn Michaels blocked you on Twitter? I don't know why Shawn Michaels blocked me on Twitter. I don't know. Does he have you blocked, Alex?
I don't know. I'll check. I've never actually. I don't follow.
It was one of those things where I saw a quoted tweet and I couldn't see the quoted tweet.
Right? Yeah. No, I've seen. Yeah.
Who's that? And I clicked it. I don't know what I did. To be honest, I was more of a Marty Jannetty fan. I was. Finn Balor versus
have me blocked.
He doesn't?
No. I'll have to say some terrible things about Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, and get him.
I don't think I've said anything terrible about him. I don't think I have. Finn Balor versus The Miz is booked by Dean Ambrose. I'll give you the rundown on this one. Kick, 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 stomp. That was the match. Miz also landed a sloppy neck breaker. Somebody counted 14 televised kicks, they informed me. Finn Balor is going to need a better tan, or else his leg is going to be beat red after every time he has fucking slapped it from these kicks. I won't bring this up every time he has a match.
Yes,
because otherwise, that's all I'll ever talk about. But a front drop kick to the outside of the ring does not make any sense.
Okay. Yes, I agree.
He inflicts a lot more damage on himself than he does his opponent.
I know that, and you know that. To the casual fan, it just looks cool. It's stupid, but it's one of those things that I don't think it's ever become canon that when you do a front drop kick, it hurts. I don't think that's the thing that people recognize. So, yeah, I agree. The aesthetics of it are pleasing, but it is a stupid thing to do.
What they recognize as hurting is bumping.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is that when you do something of your own volition, it doesn't hurt. When somebody throws you and you land on your back, that hurts. But when you make yourself land on your back, that's fine because it was your idea.
That doesn't make a damn bit of sense.
I know.
A lot of time, an old indie trick is if you're in the first match, you ask if there is an agent or whoever's running things, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to get the crowd on their feet? Do you want me to get a move over? Do you want me to get the ref over? Like make sure that his authority is established. One that you hear a lot of is they want you to establish that bumping hurts. So that first bump you take, you really sell it. And every bump that you make or you take after that, you really sell it. I just think that's kind of a bummer. But Balor won the coup de grace. Miz pushed Balor into the ref, and his acting GM demanded a disqualification, which I thought was kind of clever.
Mm-hmm.
Ambrose said nah, then banned Maurice.
I like the idea of wrestler / GM. Like an active wrestler acting as GM, getting himself over, booking himself in matches he can easily win, calling DQ finishes on the fly. I think that's great. It's like the old player coach. You know what I mean? I think that's a cool thing you could do. You could actually run that for like 3 or 4 weeks and it wouldn't get old. After that, you'll have to see what you could do with it. But especially with The Miz, because The Miz is so great at what he does on the mic. That could be a lot of fun.
A person says, a lot of people pissed at Finn Balor being called out for being a vanilla midget. In all honesty, the guy is 190 pounds. Some people have a point. Well, I don't know if he's even 190 pounds, but that's a light heavyweight in the UFC.
Yeah, that's not small.
That is the second biggest weight class. That is not a small person. And I have eviscerated on last summer. Just go back and watch any show I did with Vince Russo last summer. And I talk about it at length. Size doesn't matter that much. It doesn't. If you're Braun Strowman, matters a little bit.
Right. Matters
a little bit.
This is a ludicrous comparison, but it didn't matter to Bruce Lee. You know what I mean? Like that guy was tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not that Finn Balor is Bruce Lee, but if you're just talking size strictly, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to just be like, he's too small.
Alexa Bliss is so fantastic.
She is.
On like facial expressions on the mic. Nia Jax is not. But if they were to do this segment, they had to do it backstage. They had to kind of have that little bit of control over it. It really showed how much better Alexa is at that. But, I don't blame them for running it in this manner. They kind of have to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't mind the segment at all. I agree with you that Nia has leaves something to be desired on the mic, obviously. But I am absolutely here for Nia Jax as Alexa Bliss's Diesel. I think that's a great thing to do. You can run that for a while where Alexa is literally hiding behind Nia during promos. All kinds of fun stuff you can do with that. And then eventually Nia turns on Alexa and gets her championship shot because Alexa will never actually voluntarily give it to her. It's an old wrestling storyline, but you could do it this way really well because you have somebody like Alexa Bliss who can sell the hell out of it in all the promos. I think it could be really, really great.
We have a viewer saying, I can't wait for SRS's Star Wars review Wednesday on the list and your boy. I watched it. I also watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2 this weekend. I'll talk about that as well. Samoa Joe is one of the worst UC offenders in wrestling. It's a pet peeve of mine. But either way, I thought that the promo that he cut here was pretty good. But if this were a real production, man, I would fire whatever cameraman was in charge of this, filming this Rollins-Joe brawl. Now, I get it. They're told to film in this manner, but man, it's nauseating, Alex.
Mm-hmm. No, it's one of those things where as soon as Rollins attacks, I kind of go, oh, I know what this is going to be. And I look down and I do some stuff and I feed my kid and I do whatever I'm doing. Because if I'm actually looking at the screen, then I'm just going to have, go into seizures. So I understand what these things are. And especially when they started doing the zoom in and out for no reason, I kind of just look away.
I went back. I feel like it was last year. I went back and watched, I think, the Shield's first match.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Like the TLC match that I remember. Yeah, it was, I think, TLC 2012 maybe. And I remember that being just phenomenal. And man, the camera was really rough. Golden Truth's backstage segment was so good. I loved it.
It was great.
What did you think of it?
I really liked it. You count me among the people who have hated Golden Truth since their inception because it never made any sense to me. All of the, I want to be your partner, so I'm going to stalk you until I don't want to be your partner anymore. Then you want me to be your partner, so you stalk me. And we're going to do that for 4 months. Then we might have a match, we might not have a match, all this stuff. It's from the very beginning. I've always hated them. Just did not like them as a thing together. Didn't make any sense. This made sense. You have two veterans who were once proud champions, and they realize they're laughing stocks now. Wouldn't it be great if we could get back to what we were? You and me, we should be a great team. We have quality. I mean, these guys have been around forever. Somebody put up on Twitter that their combined age is 93. These guys have been around for a long time. They're still in decent shape and they can still work if you give them 8 minutes. Great. So, like, have some pride and go out and show what you can do. It's really good. And it planted the seeds for, wait, is Golden Truth going to win this? That'd be interesting. Because if it was SmackDown, I would say absolutely Golden Truth is going to win this. They've been jobbing for a year. Of course they're going to become title contenders. But on Raw, at least you have that bit of storytelling that gets them to the point where you think maybe they'll win the match instead of the foregone conclusion, which is Sheamus and Cesaro continuing their feud with the Hardys.
Yeah, and this is something that SmackDown didn't necessarily do with Jinder Mahal or the Shining Stars whenever they became the Colognes over there and they started to win a little bit. It looks like they're right back where they began. But
right.
And the Jinder Mahal thing, I want to address that. Thus far, his booking has been very consistent. He has not won a physical confrontation on his own yet. The issue with that situation is he shouldn't have been put in a number one contender match to begin with.
Right.
That's the inconsistency. He shouldn't have been in there. Like that's the inconsistency. Now the Shining Stars showing up, winning match over American Alpha, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But this was a nice, like I mentioned before, if you want to send Anderson and Gallows just on an absolute tear, have Stephanie McMahon backstage and say, we paid a lot of money for you guys and you haven't been worth it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, God. You put the fear of God in somebody or some motivation, it can take you somewhere. And this didn't take R-Truth and Goldust anywhere.
Nope.
They got beat by a team that had been wrestling for 25 minutes. But it was a nice little thing. It was a nice little story, something that you used to see a lot of. So I like that. It's just little things like this. And it wasn't a waste of 2 or 3 minutes. You fill the show with some stuff like this that makes sense and might get somebody emotionally invested. I really like the idea of that.
Yeah, no, I'm always down for character motivation and backstory as opposed to not that, which is what we normally get. So yeah, I'm definitely down for this thing. You know, I mean, maybe this is the impetus to, I don't know. Gosh, I was going to say break up Golden Truth, but what are you going to do with them as singles? And also the Raw tag team division is barren. So yeah, I mean, every single active tag team was in this tag team turmoil match. Every single one. So yeah.
Guys, go check out our recently brought back, revived to say, forums that we have. Everything from wrestling, WWE, TNA, Lucha Underground, or Impact Wrestling, rather, to MMA, boxing, entertainment, movies, TV, video games, music. We want to make that forum a go-to for you guys. You can also ask us questions for podcasts or just in general. If you have questions about the site, we go over there and we answer them all throughout the day. We want to make that a destination for you guys. One of my favorite threads that has recently been added is movies better than Pulp Fiction. Thus far, some of them include The Eye, One Missed Call, How High, Geely, A Dinosaur Story, and Titanic 2. Alex, your thoughts?
You are the world's biggest heel.
I'm not a heel.
That's a heel move, man. It's a heel move.
I'm a baby face for everybody who doesn't like a half an hour of unnecessary dialogue that doesn't contribute to the plot of a film.
I mean, like, there's a consensus among people who do this that Pulp Fiction is one of the top 10 films of all time, at the bare minimum.
Of all time.
Of all time. Of all time. It's like, among the people who actually decide this thing, that's what they think. So you're absolutely entitled to your opinion, but among I know, that's the thing, is that you're totally entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine about what I think about it. I personally think it's one of my top 3 movies that I've ever seen, because I don't mind sitting and watching dialogue delivered if it's delivered well and written well. But that's just me. Yeah.
Who are the people that decide this sort of thing?
Filmmakers, film critics, people who, who've made it their life to know what film is, the ins and outs of how to make one and what makes one a good one. Much like you and I should be able to, as professional journalists, decide who the top 10 wrestlers of all time are, because we are more in the know than people who just watch every now and then. It's subjective. It's subjective.
So you're saying I only watch movies every now and then? I watch movies all the time.
Right. But have you taken film classes?
Have I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good for you. That's good. I'm glad. And again, there were people when Pulp Fiction came out who weren't giving it 4-star reviews, and when it wasn't nominated for an Oscar, people who were saying that's upsetting. I don't like that movie. It doesn't deserve it. And that's
I did
fine.
this to conjure up emotion out of Alex during a boring Raw.
Yeah, so. No, it's there's other things. Well, we'll get emotional pretty soon in this Raw. It might not be the kind of emotion you want. Oh,
Alexa Bliss defeated Mickie James. Bayley got a great reaction from the London crowd. They were singing to her. Kind of made her look like the star that she can be, and she wasn't even in the match.
Right.
Mickie James also is the type of person you want working with Alexa to help her get better on the road.
Sure.
There was an awkward DDT, like STO reversal spot that didn't work out. Well, this was a rough match.
Mm-hmm.
But Alexa Bliss got the win. Then Mickie got squished by Nia Jax. Afterwards, Alexa, like yanking around on the old flapper pants of Mickie, they gotta go.
Yep. Yeah, they should do the same thing with Mickie James's flappy pants that they should do with Roman Reigns. Is that her opponent should remove them, and then in canon she can no longer wear them again. That's the easy way of getting out of a terrible design flaw in your gear. It's just not good.
Braun Strowman versus Kalisto. Strowman, the one-armed man, beats the crap out of Kalisto briefly. Then Reigns comes out to thunderous boos and attacks Strowman's injury. I mean, he really, really lets Braun Strowman have it.
Yep.
This is the type of aggression that I would love to see out of Roman Reigns on a consistent basis. And I thought that Michael Cole was really good here too. Really good at selling what was going on. Then we get this line. The monster among men retreats from the big dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
No,
That's the only sound I could make.
Yeah. So I do love that we found out when Braun Strowman only has one arm that he's really good at kicking stuff too. Like just big boots and kicks to the ribs and everything is all kick offense all the time. I like that. Don't like that he's injured. I think it was really funny that you have he comes out and he says, I'm not going to accept this match with you, Kalisto, because I'm injured. And that's stupid. I'm not going to do this. And the ref calls for the bell anyway, because, I mean, this guy's obviously got his arm in a sling. He's probably injured. The ref says, no, you're cleared to compete because I said so. So ding, 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 which is, okay, that's fine. If they did that to a baby face, Cole would be up in arms. Like, how dare they? then Roman comes out because Strowman got on the mic and said he was a big coward for not coming out. So then the big coward comes out as the conquering hero, takes a chair and beats a man in his injury, like beats on his bad arm with a chair. And Michael Cole says, "Who's the coward now?" Well, I mean, the guy who attacked an injured man in his injury is kind of a cowardly thing to do. So here's the deal. If this was a way of showing Roman's new aggression, leading into something he can do with somebody for 2 months, I don't know. We should talk about this after this point. Is he should do something, become more aggressive, more whatever, lead up to a difference in his character. But it's not, because the social media accounts of WWE are promoting him as being this great hero returning to the ring and beating up the bad guy, when really he took advantage of an injured man. And that's what Braun Strowman did that you said was so horrible. So if you're saying like turnabout's fair play, fine, but you're not saying that. You're saying just the act of taking a chair to a man's broken elbow or whatever he's got wrong with him is a good thing. We should all do that, kids. I don't know. That's not helping your underdog theory. But my big question is now, what do you do with Roman Reigns for 2 months? Like, who does he work with? He's got to have a match at Extreme Rules against whom? Like that's the thing for me, is it like I don't get it. They moved up, I think, because they were talking about having Miz go against Ambrose at Extreme Rules, and they moved that up to a one-on-one match next week. So my thought is they might insert Finn into that and make it a triple threat for the IC title, and then have Roman work Bray again, for God's sake. Because who else do you have out there who's a heel who's on Roman Reigns' level that he can work against for 2 months before Strowman gets back? And the idea was, as far as I know, to have Strowman work Reigns at Extreme Rules, and then Strowman go right on to Brock by Great Balls of Fire. Like this is the whole thing, is like because of this weird brand split and who's injured and who's not. And you got guys like Sheamus and Cesaro who are in a tag team feud where either one of those guys would be great against Roman. You can't do that now. Like, it's so weird when you lose one gigantic cog in this wheel of what now you do with, admittedly, the biggest star on your show. He's got nothing to do.
When you have spent several years sacrificing getting other people over,
absolutely,
to try to force to get one guy over in the manner that you want. Not in the manner that he is over, but the manner that you want him to be over.
Right.
This type of thing happens. Hey, you see it in the UFC all the time. They put all their eggs in one basket, then the fight falls out, and it's like, oh no, they've had to cancel a couple cards because of that.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. WWE makes their own people. They decide who wins and loses.
Yeah. Yeah. My crazy pipe dream idea is, I have no idea what they have planned in NXT for Drew McIntyre, but they should bring him up now and say,
not gonna happen.
I know they're not, but him against Roman Reigns is a good matchup. He looks like he could take on the big dog, and he can have he's a ready-made thing. So I used to be the chosen one. Now it looks like you are. I want my spot back. I mean, that's enough. Like, you could do that with backstory and vignettes and shit and make him something, but I don't know who's on the main roster that he can feud with.
Scott Dawson. I'd watch it.
I'd watch the hell out of that, but they're not going to do that.
No, they're not. They're not. Man, I'm looking up and down the roster, man. It's slim pickings. Yeah, it's slim pickings. It is. But they could very easily just slide Finn Balor into that Intercontinental title match, and maybe they should. Maybe they should. I don't know. Tag team turmoil. Cesaro and Sheamus had a pretty damn great performance here. They went about 30 minutes. There was a good reaction for Enzo and Cass. They also found some attractive women in the crowd that were actually going along with it. That's always a plus for WWE cameras. I don't know that I've seen Big Cass this aggressive in the ring before, and it really played to his strengths. It was really cool. There was this spot where Cesaro stomped Enzo like 200 times, and like 100 into it, Enzo's like, I'm flat on my back, on the ground. Where am I supposed to sell to? Once you're already down like this, you've got nowhere else you can sell to. So he's just laying there and taking it. Now, when Enzo is like the voice of reason in a wrestling lesson, it's like, come on, man. Come on. The Stone Cold stomps in the corner, you could sell off of those because you could bounce off the turnbuckles and stuff. Enzo's just laying there like, come on, next spot.
Yeah.
He gets tapped out to the sharpshooter. Cesaro and Sheamus attack Slater and Rhino before they get into the ring and dispose of these two rather easily, which they probably should have. But I hope that something happens with Slater and Rhino, some segment, something. They don't have to be big winners or anything, but make use of them. We see the Hardy Boys backstage watching TV correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, this made me happy.
Yeah, this is the only thing about what's going on with the Hardys making me happy right now. These guys they're all these online videos, interviews with them after they've done an event in Dublin or Liverpool or Bologna, Italy, or whatever it is, and they're like, "Boy, we sure do love performing for our fans. Golly geez, gosh, willikers, let's go and do the next town." And they're just like, "I want you broken." It's just
they will be. They will be
patient. I'm patient, but
it's gonna happen.
But here's the thing. Also, while they're waiting for that to be a thing that happens, it's good to keep them off of TV proper. Like this was great. Have them come out and save and save Golden Truth, do the delete chants, and then run in. The longer they're on TV not doing it, the more confusing it becomes when they just start. I honestly have no faith in WWE.
That's easy to fix, man. Just say that Matt was trying to suppress it in order to make bigger money for his family.
I believe that he will sell it, and I will believe it. I believe it will be more difficult for the people who only watch Raw and have no idea and have no knowledge of anything else that's going on. So we'll see. But I do like that they come out and they're going to get those delete chants for the rest of their careers. Like it's just a thing that's gotten so over with everybody. It's just going to be a thing that they'll do that for people who aren't the Hardys in 2025.
Yeah. Well, the Hardys numbers have been doing very, very good lately. Their merch sales have been doing pretty awesome from the couple of retailers that I spoke to. That's a good thing.
Good sign.
That's a very good sign. So after that, I think who's next? Anderson and Gallows. They beat the crap out of each other. This was good stuff. I thought there was a very impressive spot where Cesaro suplexed Gallows. Like his strength never ceases to amaze me. It's just, and then everybody ends up down. I think they go through. I feel like their part maybe went through 2 commercial breaks.
They might have, yeah.
Sheamus rather kicks Gallows for the win. Anderson and Gallows, I think, were the only team that got a little bit hurt here. Because I don't see beating Enzo. Everybody beats Enzo, not a big deal. Slater and Rhino, they are what they are. Golden Truth are what they are. But Gallows and Anderson, they're third on the depth chart or third on the order here and getting beat. I feel like that did hurt them a little bit.
That's why it took Sheamus and Cesaro the longest to beat them, I feel. A brogue kick is still a brogue kick. It's one of the most protected moves that they have in the WWE. People don't kick out of that. So that's a major one to have. And at the end of that match, you could see they were selling Cesaro and Sheamus totally spent. I mean, they should have been, but they weren't spent at all after Rhino and Slater. But Gallows and Anderson pushed them to their limits. And so, I feel like, listen, I'm never going to argue on the side of Gallows and Anderson aren't being hurt by their booking, because they are. They have been since they came to the WWE. These guys you can't have them lose every match and then talk about them running roughshod over people. That's the opposite of what running roughshod is. Language exists. You need to use it. So yeah, I don't know what you do, but listen, I love 2 teams of big bruisers
and smart, strong wrestlers like Anderson and Cesaro just knocking the hell out of each other. I'd rather see that than facing peril crap. I want to see these. I'd be down for a month feud with these two teams.
Yeah, I think they could have some fun hoss battle matches, and Carl Anderson is the smallest one of the four, and he can hang in there with all of them.
Yep.
Goldust sells the injured leg better than anybody I've seen in a main event program lately. Does it phenomenally. I would be cool with a rejuvenated run for these two, but even if it boils down to them thinking like, man, are we over the hill? Like they lose a few times and they're like, damn, maybe it is time for us to hang them up. Like that type of deal. That's not too bad either. Cesaro and Sheamus win after 28 minutes. They attack Golden Truth, but the Hardy Boys run them off. And Cole, again, just like in the segment that you talked about, Alex, kind of alludes to, they ran away. You can't respect those two guys. They just wrestled for a half an hour and beat 4 teams.
Yeah.
The Hardys wrestled none. Now, what they did after the bell, sure, you could construe that as cowardly, I guess, because it's still the team that came out 4th.
Yeah.
Weird. Does anybody even look over this shit?
Well, no, that's the idea, is that if you're a heel, you're a coward. That's straight up. Even if you're a monster, when you go up against the guy who you might be a little afraid of, then you're afraid of that guy. You know what I mean? Like Neville's the same thing. He will stand up to anybody in the ring except Austin Aries. Austin Aries scares him. He runs and hides under his bed. At least that's his booking, like that's just the way it works. It's a thing that it's completely standard. Even Braun Strowman fucking backs away from people. You know what I mean? Like he'll squish everybody, but he'll back away from the Undertaker. He'll back away from Brock Lesnar because there's a point where they get to a certain point. There's a line you don't cross. Once you cross that line, well, then I don't want any piece of you. I'm scared because you have the forces of good behind you. Yeah. I didn't like this either. I thought they should have put over the fact that these two guys just wrestled a half hour, beat 4 teams, beat your entire damn tag division except for the champs, and they're going back to Extreme Rules where it's Extreme Rules, so they could very easily just beat the crap out of these 2 old dudes and take their belts. Like make them dangerous as opposed to and make them smart. Like, nah, we're not fighting you. We just wrestled 4 teams. We'll get you in a couple of weeks. Like, have them do something like that as opposed to just like, oh, they ran away. Oh, they got poopy pants because they ran away. God, Enzo's damn promos always come back around to poop. Come on, man. Like,
pretty much on par with pretty much on par with the programming. Seth Rollins defeated Samoa Joe via DQ. They started off fast and violent. I thought it was a good battle, and Rollins did sell the leg a lot more convincingly than in previous matches, but he still did like the suicide dive and stuff.
Yeah.
At the end, Rollins eats exposed turnbuckle, and Joe gets DQ'd. They really put over the exposed turnbuckle, which isn't something we've seen a lot of in recent years. That's an old trick that they busted back out. This was a solid match. Looks like they're headed towards another pay-per-view bout, and Coquina Clutch is applied after the bell.
Okay, so it's Extreme Rules, right?
Yeah.
Has there ever been an exposed turnbuckle match where they take the pads off of all 4 turnbuckles? Like, this whole thing is that you're right. I've never seen this before. Yeah. It's really weird that they're like, hey, no, we're going to put the pad back on. The ref's like, hey, if you do this, I'm going to disqualify you. And Samoa Joe says, I'm going to do it anyway. They were really indicating that this was a major deal. So to me, it seems like you're going to have like a leather strap match where you got to touch all 4 corners, something with the turnbuckles. Like, it's Extreme Rules, so anything can happen. It's the same way where like they made the WrestleMania tag match a ladder match, because there happened to be ladders backstage that were used in a brawl. Like, there's always a reason why something becomes a specific type of match. I I'd be down for a Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins exposed turnbuckle match. Why not?
So people don't understand how hard that really is. It is solid steel.
Yeah.
So what that is the hook that the rope goes into, and then it's attached by a solid piece of steel that takes the rope and basically holds it there and then attaches to the post. One time I saw a guy, he took it off, and the ropes were like basically glorified rubber hose, cable.
Wow. Yeah.
A lot of time on the indies. And when he went into the buckle, all of it came loose, and the buckle went, the piece of steel went with him, and the rope shot him because it came loose. The rope, the piece of steel, all comes with him halfway across the ring, and this piece of steel falls on his face and busted out his one front tooth.
Oh,
it was. We were worried, we were concerned, but he thought it was hilarious. He thought it was hilarious. So it's like kind of like, okay, we can laugh as long as he thinks it's funny. He had fortunately dental coverage, so
yeah.
Oh my God, I'll never forget that. That was just fantastic. And I could just see something like that happening here. Because anything bad that can happen in situations like this does happen.
Yeah.
Especially to Seth Rollins.
Right.
TJP defeated Jack Gallagher. I really liked the false finish with the immediate headbutt. I thought that was kind of cool. TJP wins and continues to confuse this division. I love how during the match, the announcers were like, if TJP wins, are you giving him a title shot? You said you were. You said you were. Hey, you said you were. You said you were. And Neville danced around it. And before he got off commentary, he said, I'm not giving TJP shit. He just ran. It was really good.
Oh, yeah.
TJP attacks Gallagher, and Aries makes the save. Yeah, you think we're getting that ladder match maybe at Extreme Rules? It would make a hell of a lot of sense, Alex.
I hope so.
Kill 30 minutes with that.
I hope so. These guys haven't had that. Like, to me, like, it's like the cruiserweight division. You got all these guys who are really talented and really are willing to kill themselves. Just let them do it. Like, put them in a damn ladder match. Especially with the whole thing of I mean, even if it's not all of them, the title match, even if it's a one-on-one thing with him and Austin Aries, should be a ladder match, since Aries had Neville beat twice and Neville fought his way out of it in underhanded manner. If it's a ladder match, you can't do that. That's the reason why you have a ladder match. So even if it's just one-on-one, but I'd like it to be like 5. These 4 guys, and then like Mustafa Ali or somebody, Tozawa, whoever. Make it 5 or 6. But these guys all deserve a chance to really show how awesome the cruiserweight division can be, because, you know, the purple ropes thing, it's not getting over with people. No one's watching 205 Live. Like, even though, like, if you watch 205 Live, there are really good matches on there that are approaching the quality of the cruiserweight classic matches, and nobody watches it.
And they're adding shows. They're adding like a UK show, and they're going to end up adding a women's show.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to watch this stuff. But, you know, I think what they probably should do at the end of the week is put together, if they do a women's show, put like an hour-long what you missed on these 3 shows.
Yeah.
And maybe even NXT. I think that would be cool. But I think they've done a really good job of confusing the division.
Yeah.
Keeping people over without like making them look too bad. Sasha Banks defeated Alicia Fox. These two go at it hard. Alicia Fox, I'll always put over her Northern Light suplex. She has a beautiful bridge. But shortly after, nothing says anger like a good old rear chin lock.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha reversed a backbreaker, which I thought was really nice because it's a move that we see a lot, so it should be scouted. And Sasha turned it into a body press. Likewise, Alicia did that with the double knees and reversed that as well. That was cool. I'd love to see these two get a little bit of a longer match. I'd also like to see them work on the live events together. That way they can kind of get used to each other. Because you could tell it was sort of like a Raw type of, no pun intended, but a Raw experience for both of them. But I thought it was fine. The pin was trash after the double knees. Don't know if that was supposed to happen or not. They played it up afterwards. They had the replay queued up. What says you, Alex?
I think it was too blatant to not be on purpose. And I think that the Graves immediately pointed that out. That wasn't somebody in his ear going, hey, guys, we just saw the footage. You got to play this up. That was like, as 3 was coming down, like, I don't know, guys. That letter looks like her right shoulder was up to me. They're going to play this up in some way.
Her shoulder was up.
No, absolutely. No, it was up. And I feel like this should lead to another story. There was a thing they did months ago now where Bayley pinned Charlotte, but Charlotte's shoulder was up. They did that before. So they're probably going to run that back and do that this time. Do
we have 3 singles women's matches at Extreme Rules?
Maybe. Sure.
Because it looks like they could go Sasha, Alicia, which I would love that. Nia, Mickey, Bayley, Alexa. I mean, that could happen.
It's possible. I mean, the one person we think we know won't be there is Emma. Poor Emma, who can't stay healthy to save her life, even though this was, as far as I can tell, in no way her fault.
I had somebody arguing with me yesterday. Now, there's no video that's out of this, and somebody said, before you go blaming Sasha, the double knees in the corner is a standard bump, and I'm like, du what? Like, I'm not saying that it was her fault. I'm not saying that Sasha Banks did it, but those double knees in the corner is in no way standard. Like, it's not normal. There's no real way to protect yourself. You are relying on the weight of her knees to push you down in a manner that lands you on your back as best you can, but your arms are tied up, your legs are tied up. You've got no real way to base out. And that was a weird hill for that person to die on. Of course, they later admitted that I was right, Alex. Go figure.
Yeah, no, that it's not it's a move she does often, but it's a dangerous move if the person isn't ready to take it. Like, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong, and something went wrong. We're here. It was not done properly. So whatever happened, it really sucks for Emma because she's so damn talented, and they held her off of TV for no damn reason when she was perfectly healthy for months, and now she gets back. She gets to be playing that character that we all know and love. And then she goes out again. I'm hoping it's just a small sprain or something, and we'll find out that she's only gone for a few weeks. I do not want this thing to be like another several months thing because I don't think she'll be able to recover from it.
Yeah, I hope she's okay. I haven't seen a video. I don't know who was to blame or anything, but that is not a standard bump by any means. Bray Wyatt defeated. Oh, by the way, afterwards, I wanted to mention this. Well, I'll go ahead and mention it after the Bray Wyatt thing. Bray Wyatt defeated Dean Ambrose. Bray landed a really cool suplex to the floor on Ambrose, like where Ambrose is kind of hanging out of the ring. It definitely doesn't seem like it's been a year or two since these guys were in a feud. Alex.
Yeah. Yes. In the days of the exploding televisions. It's amazing how to me, I feel like I know this isn't a fresh feud. I know that they have fought many times before. But it's been so long that it's kind of cool little novelty to be able to see this again. Nostalgia. And there's certain things where they put up, Bray had him scouted on the first wacky clothesline. And which is good. He should. He's faced him enough. And also that move is friggin' telegraphed to hell. But certain things like that, these guys, did work really well together when they were, both taken a lot more seriously. And now, through writing, Ambrose is a court jester, and through booking, Bray is this, sad man who thinks he's a god, but loses every match. So
by the way, you and Anna just sent me the video. Yeah, I see what happened. Emma's arm was caught up in the rope. She didn't get in there, and that's nasty. That's nasty. Yeah. The Bray Wyatt thing, You want to take bets that he is Aleister Black's first main roster feud when that happens?
Oh my God! Of course he is.
You just know it. You just know it.
Of course he is. And by the way, Aleister Black making his main roster debut today on Main Event. He came in and answered a Kurt Hawkins challenge and kicked the crap out of him, of course. But that's good. I mean, it looks like they're fast tracking Aleister Black to something, which is fine. He's got a really cool look. He's obviously Tommy End is incredibly experienced and, seasoned and ready to be at that level. But yeah, I mean, all of it's a perfect thing. Like Bray should be at a point where the thing I loved was that he won the match and Miz was scared of him. Like Bray doesn't have alliances with people. He'll fight anybody. And I like that. And I wish they would play it up more. I feel like I would be absolutely down for a Wyatt versus Miz feud. Because Miz could sell actually being afraid of Bray Wyatt, like thinking Wyatt has him cursed or something. That could be fun. And Miz would be willing to put over Wyatt, and Wyatt could win that feud. You keep putting Wyatt.
Miz never wins.
Yeah, exactly. So you keep putting Wyatt up against these guys. They were teasing this thing with Finn Balor up until today, where Finn Balor, Finn Balor would absolutely win that feud with Bray and make Bray look foolish in the process. So put Bray up in there against Miz, and that would be actually a lot of fun to watch. It would save Raw programming for 8 weeks where we don't know what we're doing with anybody, and the Universal title's sitting up in Saskatchewan somewhere gathering dust, and Roman Reigns is fighting God knows who. A Bray versus Miz feud would be a lot of fun. That could be something you could do. If Miz loses next week to Dean Ambrose, put Miz in a feud with Bray Wyatt right there. It could be a lot of fun. Do that.
So this match was okay. Miz blasted Ambrose with the Intercontinental title. By this point, a normally hot London crowd just didn't care. You got to put on a pretty crappy show to get this crowd, really any crowd in that country, to be this quiet. So that really, really told the story, I thought. But I thought they had a better match than I expected. Wyatt wins. Miz beats down Ambrose in what is the 5th post-match beatdown of the night.
Yeah.
This is lazy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super lazy.
It's one thing if the heel loses and needs to get their heat back to continue the feud, but the heels win. And so then it's over. You can move on. You won the match. But to prove that you're a bad guy, you got to beat him up. You could actually say it was the 6th. Are you counting Roman Reigns beating down Braun Strowman? Because that's also the same kind of thing. It was just the thing of like, it felt like the entire writing staff gathered around a big hat that had like obvious wrestling tropes all written down in it. And you pull out one and each guy's got to go away and figure out how to work it into his segment. Because it was just everyone figured out, okay, we're all doing the post-match speech down. Let's see what happens next week when we pull something else out of the hat. This is not the way to get over this kind of programming. Listen, I would not watch an episode of Raw for the next 8 weeks until Braun Strowman got back. If it wasn't part of my job.
Oh yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
This is not going to be fun. I mean, SmackDown Live's over there. You got a Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles feud brewing, and Shinsuke Nakamura is just hanging out waiting for them to uncage him on Dolph Ziggler, who sells like a mother. Like, that's going to be a great, fun match to watch. I mean, even Jinder Mahal, for God's sake, what are they going to do with this thing? Are they actually going to put the damn title on Jinder Mahal for like 2 weeks and then shut it over to Baron Corbin? It's like, what are they going to do? There's intrigue on SmackDown Live. There's zero intrigue here. Like, I'm watching the same feuds I saw before Mania in some cases. It's not doing it for me.
Yeah, I did not like this episode of Raw. I didn't. I want to remind you guys, check out our Fightful forums. They're going to get more active. That's a good place to go to talk to us, to talk to your other Fightful friends. Movies, TV, video games, action figures, wrestling, MMA, boxing, all that stuff. Speaking of MMA, we have our MMA show with Showdown Joe tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. I will be joining him, of course. And as we progress week by week, we will be adding segments, adding time to it as well. This Saturday, UFC 211. Come hang out on our discussion boards for UFC 211. It is an insane card. Stipe Miocic and Junior Dos Santos for the heavyweight title. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Jessica Andrade for the women's strawweight title. Damian Maia, Jorge Masvidal in what is likely to be a title eliminator. Former champion Frankie Edgar against Yair Rodriguez. Henry Cejudo versus Sergio Pettis. Former champion Eddie Alvarez against Dustin Poirier, and a lot more. Former World Series of Fighting champion Jessica Aguilar on that show as well. Alex, explain to me this Kings of Leon situation.
So the bassist, not the lead singer, guitar player, the bassist, one of the brothers that is in Kings of Leon. Remember that? Remember Kings of Leon from like 10 years ago? Yeah, those guys. They're really relevant now. And he just tweeted out, unprovoked.
I think they did have a #1 record last year. I looked it up.
Was it really? Because I honestly have not heard their name since Sex was on fire.
I haven't either.
So like it's been a long time. Anyway, he just unprovoked tweeted out, "Hey adults, let's maybe not watch professional wrestling." Cool or whatever. And then his mentions were set ablaze. And so there are a lot of people who tweeted at it about it, like wrestlers who got involved. And he kept on trying to walk it back with various degrees of sincerity, none of which were 100%. And then he was just, to his credit, he could have deleted the first tweet and hid, but he kept trying to figure out a way out of it, and had not. And yeah, it's just I guess it's gotten worse. Like, I think he told Veda Scott.
Oh, I couldn't imagine what it's like for him, because I sent a reply and I've had 750 notifications. That is not an exaggeration. So I would imagine his is, well, I think when you're verified, Alex,
exactly.
Not that you would know anything about that.
I would not know anything about that.
You can filter that stuff to where only verified notifications showed up. I don't do that because I'll be honest, most of my verified followers and following are not that interesting.
Yeah.
They're a pretty tame crowd. People lose their edge when they get that blue check mark. And I think that's ridiculous. I think that's stupid. Speaking of ridiculous, Anna Bowert's Most Ridiculous dropped today. Go check that out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. She will be on tomorrow night with me on the Post SmackDown show along with Jeff Hawkins. Check out that Wednesday show. It has exploded in popularity. That just happened like overnight, like about a month ago. We started to check out the downloads and views and everything on those shows. And hey, it's starting to beat Monday Night Raw's show. Alex, what are you going to do? Are you going to get desperate for ratings? Are you going to put a piñata on a pole? Will you put the Fightful Championship on yourself? You're associate editor. You might have that power.
I might have. I could be the interim GM, and I could put myself in a match where I'm guaranteed to win.
You could.
I'm hoping that the fact that Raw will be virtually unwatchable for the next 6 weeks will allow people to not watch the show, but instead come here and get all your news about the show and find out why you were wise not to watch it.
I think that's the best idea, guys. You don't even have to watch Raw.
No.
Get your fix here at Fightful.com, where you can get all your pro wrestling news, photos, videos, podcasts, interviews, live coverage. We have more live coverage than anybody, period. We got it Raw, SmackDown, Lucha Underground when it's on. We even have Total Divas recaps. Bless you, Danielle Ortiz. Also, safe travels this week. Also, safe travels to you, Alex. You're doing a little,
I did a little road trip
tomorrow.
A little road trip tomorrow. A couple hours in the car with a 3-month-old baby. We shall see how that goes.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I've got cats, man. I'll stick with it.
I have a cat. He is not enamored with the baby. We'll have to see how We'll have to see how well they get along once she's crawling and grabbing at him with sticky fingers.
Did you see that bread that restaurant gave me?
I did. That's not a bread, sir. That's a brick.
Yeah, I went to this place in Lexington called Crust. Last week we went up there. I got a new PC to help run some of this software. And we looked for the highest rated pizza place. I was like, if we'll go to Lexington, I want to eat some good fried chicken or some pizza. And there was this place that had like 175 reviews, and it was 4.5. I am convinced that they have dummy accounts reviewing their stuff, because I went there and they said, oh, here you go, have this free loaf of bread. And I was like, you know what? I don't usually just eat bread all by its lonesome. Not my type of thing. But I took it home and I plopped it down on the table and it made this sound. It was real loud. It was real loud. I played some baseball with it today.
I think your first problem is that the name of the restaurant was Crust and not the soft, fluffy inside part of the bread that's really good to eat. You know what I mean? Like that would be where I would go for my bread, because if they're touting the crust, like the outside thing, then it's probable that it made
exactly. Oh yeah, the rest of it was trash.
Yeah.
I might start doing food reviews for you guys. Not enough cheese. The pepperonis were yay big. Maybe pepperonis were about the size of a nickel.
You know why?
Maybe a quarter.
The problem
Embarrassing.
You're going to one of those highfalutin Lexington pizza places where all those city folk eat their pizza. Probably had goat cheese on it.
Probably. I passed up going to Goodfellas. I've never been there, but I bet it was great. Guys, Fightful.com. Go check out those forums. If you don't, I will kick in your back door and I will bring bread to your home. Alleged bread. I have not yet proven that it's bread.
You don't need to kick in the door. Just throw the bread through a window. Get in through that way. That's true.
That's a good point. That's why we pay you the big bucks, Alex.
Yeah.
Until next time, guys, we are out.